afternoon. I'm Margaret from the Toronto Knitters Guild. Nice to meet you. Kim and Ron, thank you so much for joining me today on our little interview in preparation for the TKG Frolic, which is happening July 23rd to 25th, so coming up in just over a week. I wanted to get us started if you would tell us a little bit about yourself and Indigodragonfly.
Well, Ron and I are the owners and primary dyers for Indigodragonfly, which is a hand-dyed yarn and fiber company. And we've been in business since 2009, so we've been around for a little while. And we dye up in Haliburton, Ontario, in the house that's next door to our house, because it turns out in Haliburton, Ontario, it's cheaper to buy a house than it is to build a garage for your dye studio. And here we are. So we live over there. We come here for work. It's a very long time.
Fantastic. That does mean 2 houses to clean.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Okay. I did mention don't look that way.
Fantastic. And how did you get started?
But this house allows us plenty of top. It allows us to have a dye kitchen that's an actual kitchen, and it allows us lots of storage for the extra yarn. So we always have yarn ready to go.
Yes, I can see that sometimes that's a challenge with some smaller dyers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And how did you get started? Well? How do we get started?
Yeah, how did you get started?
I lost my job. I was working for a provincial arts organization, and it folded, and suddenly I didn't have a job. And when I was looking for a new job, all my knit night friends said, so you know what we think you should do? You should dye yarn, because we've seen the yarn you dye for yourself and we'd like some of that. So please become a yarn dyer. So I ended up getting a part-time job up here in Haliburton, which is the primary reason why we moved. And I was just going to dye a few pots of yarn every week and sell it off so I'd have, yarn money. But then what happened, Ron?
Well, I put my work skills to use, which was working in a bank and running movie theaters, and decided to dive into dyeing full time. Because they're so connected.
So I went from arts management, and Ron went from working in a bank and working in movie theaters to hello, now we're yarn dyers. And so we've been both working full time for the business for about 11 years.
Yep.
And we have a third person that comes in and works with us named Victoria, and she's doing a radio show tonight, so can't be
okay. Fantastic. What a range of skills.
Yeah, she is a museum curator who is now a studio minion. And it turns out everything is related.
In the publishing industry, I work in the publishing industry, and there is a role within printers called the printer's devil. And that is effectively a studio minion. I don't know, Victoria. Maybe I shouldn't say that about her. But that could be another title. And that makes me think of one of the things that I've noticed with your yarn is the creative names. You clearly have a great wordsmith and a lot of fun with it. I'm quite impressed. Quite impressed.
That's Ron's job. And to be honest, it started on day one. I started dyeing yarn in our 400 square foot apartment in Toronto. I'm sure my landlords were thrilled about that. And the first yarn that I dyed, I was going to call it something lovely and fluffy, like flowers from Nana's garden. And Ron decided instead that this purple color should be called Roverkill. And ever since then, he's doing the naming for the yarn. So we have some really fun names. Let's look at this is our current fundraising yarn for the, People with AIDS Foundation in Toronto to support Stephanie Pearl-McPhee and her team of knitters that do the ride every year. This colorway is called the Shrieking Wheels. Get it? bicycle. And also we really like the Princess Bride over here. So
Okay.
it's companion color.
Ooh,
You
sharp.
want to do stripes, or you want to make a sweater and you don't want it to look like this. We have another one, and this is called the Tire Swamp.
That's fantastic. So Ron, do you never run out of clever names? That's fun.
Only when I need one in like 10 seconds.
Right.
Then the mind blank. Otherwise, 3 in the morning. Oh.
All right.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. Hey, now you just showed me a sweater behind there. What do you have standing behind you on that? Yeah, what?
This is a sweater that I designed for a magazine in the UK called Knitting Magazine. Very imaginative title. And it's called Denote.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Denote, D-E-N-O-T-E, like that denotes something.
Okay.
And it's got wonderful twisted stitches in an abstract pattern up the front and also on the back of the sweater as well. And so it would be perfect for a color like Tire Swamp. We're also planning on dyeing lots of sweater amounts, especially for the frolic. So we're going to spend some time over the next couple of weeks doing that.
Okay.
To make sure
that this is a brand new pattern, is it just released?
It was released in January in that magazine, but I'm going to be releasing it as a standalone pattern for Frolic.
Oh, okay, fantastic. It's beautiful.
Right, come back to me. So it will be available for the Frolic weekend.
Okay, perfect for a fall knit.
It's perfect for a fall knit because it's got this wonderful cozy collar that kind of wraps around your neck. And there's enough space in the sweater that you can kind of fold it over and pin it, almost like a wrap sweater.
Yep, gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Really lovely.
And so you mentioned you're going to be releasing that and doing sweater kits in time for the, or sweater lots in time for the frolic. What else?
Lots in time. We have, we've been doing a new venture this year called the Squid Box, and Squid stands for special quantities of yarn for world international domination. Did I get it right?
It's close enough.
Something like that. And so we've done a couple of them so far this year. The first one was a sweater box, but the one that we've just released and just shipped out is a sock box. So what happens with that is we have 3 brand new bases. I might need your help here for a second. 3 brand new bases and five special colors that are exclusive to this box.
Okay.
And we've seen, and then on top, you get to choose 3 of these.
Okay.
So you get all 3 bases, but you choose the colors that you want. And in addition to that, there's a special gift, which is I can tell you this much, it's a very useful tool that is related to socks, and it's handmade and lovely.
Okay.
So you get a box that gets all of those things.
Okay, fantastic.
And we've saved a bunch of those just for Frolic. So you'll be able to get those on next weekend only. It will be your last chance to get them, right?
Okay, that's very exciting, and something to definitely watch for next weekend. And
exactly.
And what else do you have going on?
Well, we have the fundraising colorway for the PWA.
Yes.
And lots of sweater amounts happening. What else do you want to talk about?
We can talk about bases if you would like.
Yeah.
Sure. What sweater base are we going to do this week?
This week, we're going to do Caribou and Chameleon and Rose.
Excellent. So Caribou is my favorite sweater yarn. It's a fingering weight, 100% superwash merino that wears like iron, but feels super soft and feels like it has silk and cashmere in it, but it doesn't. So it's a really great workhorse but also feels luxurious kind of yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Chameleon. Actually have a few here. Chameleon is a base that's unique to us. Nobody else has it.
Okay.
It's a merino cat silk. And you'll see that it has like this little fleck. It's because silk doesn't take color in the same way. And so we separated out the silk in the space so that we get this little fleck.
Okay.
And all it does is it gives your garment or your shawl or your mittens or your socks just kind of a little fleck of light throughout, which is really lovely.
Would you call that almost a semi-solid, or is that, would you distinguish it from that?
These are semi-solids for sure.
Okay. I love knitting semi-solid.
Dye. Yeah, most of what we dye for sweaters are semi-solid yarns. And then we do some crazy things like this. This is, of course, the aptly named beige.
Of course. That must, is there no confusion over that? Everybody just gets it.
They get it when they see it.
Okay.
Prior to that, they're like, Kim dyes beige? And then we say, yes, beige. As opposed to the undyed, we call plaid.
And this is the third weight we'll be doing fire mounts in, which is the Rouse Sport.
Yes, so this is a sport weight. This is
That's
actually
gorgeous.
what I designed this sweater
Okay.
in. So it's one of those really great shoulder season weights because it's a little bit warmer than fingering. It knits up a little bit faster, but still feels lightweight, so you can wear it inside and out and not feel like you're getting overheated.
Fantastic.
And Ron's been called away to the dye pot.
Okay. And that color just looks like would be so much fun to knit.
It is. It's a really, really super fun color. And if you go onto Ravelry and search for beige, Indigodragonfly beige, you'll see the hundreds and thousands of projects people have knit. And it's really amazing what they've done with it.
And if you're ever looking for if you're looking for undyed yarn, it's the stuff that's called
I told her.
Okay.
That's
Sorry,
right. So I wonder, do you have any, I know you've been to the Frolic many times before.
Yes. Yeah.
Are there any great memories you have you could share, or adventures, Frolic adventures?
Frolic adventures.
Probably one of the best ones was whenever we have a new minion that comes to work the booth.
Yes.
Their eyes just kind of bug out of their heads.
Yeah. We try to warn them ahead of time. We try to warn them that there will be a lineup. We try to warn them that that lineup is all going to try to come through the doors at the same time, and that entire lineup at some point is going to end up trying to get into our booth. And every single time, I wish I had pictures of their faces, because they just kind of freaking out while trying not to look like they're freaking out. It's hilarious.
The volume. The Frolic can be overwhelming. For sure. Getting into some of those booths can be a little bit of a contact sport, get the elbows out a little bit.
A little bit. We figured it out. We finally got a plan and a setup that works really well.
That's great. That's great.
And the other thing that's lots of fun is another great Frolic memory is we've been doing a dinner for our customers. Anybody who wants to come is welcome to come at a restaurant after the Frolic. And usually our reservation is a little bit earlier than we would like. And so we've started saying to our customers, if you want us to be there at dinner on time, then we need some help packing up and putting stuff in the car. Do you know how quickly people who love yarn can put yarn away and take it to your car, pretending to take it to their own?
That's inspired, and I may I may co-opt that in my job. That's inspired.
I swear it's the best ever.
Fantastic. So for this Frolic coming up, you've got a couple specials. And the
Yes.
re-release of the sweater. What else do you have planned?
We have a discount code.
Oh.
So all weekend, or do you want that at the end?
Oh, no, you bring it on.
Okay, so we've created a discount code that's worth 10% off all yarn, most of our magazines and books, and accessories. That includes needles and notions and all of that kind of stuff.
Fantastic.
And so the code is Faux Frolic 21, the number 21.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that
and,
to the participants.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exciting.
And we're going to have a special colorway, but we're not going to tell you what it is yet.
Oh my
goodness. We have to maintain some semblance of tradition.
Sure.
And traditionally, we start teasing about the Frolic colorway about a week before.
Okay.
With black and white photos.
Okay.
And slowly we'll start to reveal what it is. But we've done a special colorway for the Frolic for at least 8 or 9 years. Mm-hmm. And so it's become a real collector's item. I think we were one of the first people to do this. And so people get excited about it. And we can't wait to show you what we have up our sleeves.
I'm all excited, and I'm going to watch on Instagram, and I'll start to see the little reveals happening. So that's exciting.
Yep.
You mentioned notions. This is just a favorite query of mine. Do you have a favorite notion? Is there something that you just love when you get a chance to use?
I am a tool junkie. So I like all the things, but I think my favorite is, can you pass me the Cocoa Knits stitch markers that are like a little comma?
I know the ones you're talking about.
No, not this one, the other one. I love the Cocoa Knits notions. I love that they can all fit on the Maker's Keep. If only I could remember to actually put the Maker's Keep bracelet on my wrist instead of leaving it at the bottom of my knitting bag. That would be helpful.
We have one.
We have one. Awesome. Okay. So I love their little ring markers. Can you pass me one of those? Just the rings. These are the markers I use most often. And they come in a bunch of sizes. So these are the extra large ones.
Yes, yeah, I can see that.
But they come right down to a mini size. And I think they're the ones that stay out of my way the most. Mm-hmm. And there's so many colors that I can use them to designate different things in my knitting. But my absolute favorite are these stitch markers. This is a replacement for locking stitch markers. Let me get it back.
Yeah, I love it. Gorgeous.
And what I love about these is if I'm knitting a project and I need to know how many rows I'm counting between increases, I will just stick one of these at the bottom of at the point in the column where I'm counting from. And they're super easy to undo and put in place again, so I don't feel like I'm stopping the flow of my knitting.
Yeah, that's ingenious. I haven't used that. That's ingenious.
So that's what I love these for, and what I use them for the most is anytime I need to release a stitch marker and put it back really, really quickly. Mm-hmm. Because when I'm knitting and I get in the flow, I don't want to stop and do anything. So I really love those.
I hear you. But
if I'm putting my project away for a while, then I use a real locking stitch marker because they do fall out. They'll stay while I'm knitting. And most of the time they'll stay in my project, but just to be sure, I'll use a real locking marker to hold it in place when I've stopped knitting for the night.
Lovely. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Just before we go, are there any other things about Indigodragonfly that I didn't ask, or things that you'd like to share that you wish people asked?
I think one of the big parts of our business philosophy is community.
Yes.
And it's as you were discussing a little earlier, there's a lot of dyeing companies out there. There's lots of dyers, and we try to support as much as possible. And one of the ways that we've been doing that over the years is with our dye camps.
Yes.
And we have people that come in a couple times a year pre-COVID, and they would stay for a week and they would learn how to dye and use techniques that they would never see before. They get access to our dyes, our yarns, and at the end of the day, we would have people that would appreciate the yarn so much more and understand what we do, and we've been able to give that to them. And a number of them have become, they've gone onto their own businesses.
Yeah.
And some folks say to us, why are you telling people how to do this stuff? You're giving away your secrets. You're going to lose market. And it's like, no, we're not. There's room for everybody. And one thing that you cannot replace is the hand of the maker. Yeah.
It's really true. So Ron and Victoria and I have proven that in our own studio. If each of the three of us dyed the same colorway, using the same recipe and the same mixture of dye on the same day, using the same yarn in 3 different pots, you will be able to tell the difference between the 3 of our yarns. There's that much of a difference that the hand makes, and that's something that's really important for us to bring across to others. So when you come to dye camp, you're not learning to dye like us, you're learning to dye the way your hands and your mind work together to dye your yarn. And as Ron said, it's made some people appreciate what we do even more and become better customers after the fact. Or we've had customers that have gone on to become dyers themselves. And that's been really exciting to see, and to see what they end up doing on their own after dye camp is over. So we're hoping next summer we can start doing dye camps again. That would be really lovely. And community is important.
It's such a heartwarming story of building community, and a testament to the fiber industry as well, that that you're not threatened by sharing that, and that's wonderful.
We're not, and I don't understand people who are threatened by that. I think that if you are threatened by that, then you need to have more confidence in your own abilities. And as we said, community is super important to us. Since day one, we put aside a portion of every sale that we make, and it gets donated to charities and causes that we believe in, some of them local, some of them national across Canada, and some of them international, because that's where our customers are. They're all over the country and all over the planet. And so we think that's important. And we've also developed a really strong community of our customers, people that keep coming back, people who will show up anywhere we are to see us, which is really nice and really exciting. We have an event that we do here in Haliburton. Now we're 3 hours away from Toronto, 5 hours away from Ottawa, and 3 hours away from North Bay. And yet every year, pre-COVID, every year, we would get between 50 and 75 people who would not only come to the studio for our open house, but they would stay for the day and kind of hang out and socialize with each other and be really good to each other. And so that's the community that we want to foster. And it's the community that makes us continue doing this, because this is a hard job. When it gets to be 40 degrees this summer and we're standing only hot pots, think about us.
Okay, well, maybe the house has AC. Or not.
So
open windows and fans. I'm so happy that you were able to give me a little bit of time and tell me about your business. And thank you again for supporting the Knitters Frolic, the inaugural, maybe only virtual Faux Frolic. We'll see how that goes. But I really have enjoyed this time. And again, thank you so much for sharing. And we will see you in just over a week online at the Faux Frolic.
Awesome. We'll see you then, Margaret.